This is Reverse Reset Restore, the show dedicated to empowering transformation. I'm your host Sally, and in our episodes we explore the art of reversing limiting beliefs, resetting our thought patterns, and ultimately restoring our health, both physically and mentally. Join me as we uncover the tools, stories, and strategies that will guide you on your path to a healthier, more vibrant you. Change comes from within. Unlike the brain, the stomach alerts you when it's empty. I loved this African proverb so much I just couldn't resist starting today's episode with it. Welcome to Reverse Reset Restore. If this is your first time here, you are about to learn just how fantastic your stomach is. In this podcast, we flip between looking at our bodies and how they function to talking about distorted thinking patterns and hopefully banishing them, to discussions on trauma and healing modalities, all with the idea that by increasing our own understanding, we can reshape who we are to become who we were always meant to be. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit the like, subscribe, follow buttons and join us on our Facebook page, Reverse Reset Restore. If you are back again, thank you so much. I love that you are here. Please let me know what you'd like us to talk about in other episodes, as this is a shared journey of self-discovery and recovery. All right, today we are going to talk about the ways that our stomach acts like a second brain. And yes, this is a real thing. We've basically got two brains, guys. I know, some of you are probably thinking, well, Sally, I know someone who appears to have none, let alone two. And there are some people that you meet that can have that kind of effect on your thoughts. But trust me, each of us have two brains. Whether we are using them to our full advantage or not is, however, not the focus for today's conversation. What I am going to talk about is the stomach's enteric nervous system, the second brain, the gut microbiome, the gut-brain axis, and our gut instincts. So we'll be exploring some of the scientific mechanisms of how our brain and our stomach work together, as well as how we can develop or re-establish a connection to the knowing that resides within each of us. There is a whole lot of information coming at you this episode, and I've also broken it down into a few blogs to help you digest. Yes, that was a deliberate pun. The link to the Reverse Reset Restore blog, which is part of our website, is in the show notes. So picture this. Deep within the walls of your digestive system lies a hidden gem known as the enteric nervous system, the ENS, aka your second brain. This intricate network of neurons and neurotransmitters is like a mini version of your main brain. You know, the one sitting up all high and mighty in the noggin. And the ENS is capable of pulling off some pretty impressive tricks. First off, let's talk numbers. So the ENS is no slouch. It's packing around 100 million neurons, all snugly nestled throughout your entire digestive tract. From your throat to your tush, your gut's got neurons for days. Now, what do all those neurons actually do? Good question. They're a diverse bunch, with some specializing in sensing changes in your gut environment and others relaying signals within the ENS itself. Some are controlling digestion, absorbing nutrients, and even communicating with your main brain. And the rest are controlling muscle movements in your digestive system. It really is like a bustling little city down there, with neurons playing different roles to keep things running smoothly. They sound a little bit like the couriers of the body, the neuropeptides, in that they help get the messages where they need to go, creating cause and effect. But here is where it gets really cool. Your gut doesn't just talk to your brain, it listens. There's a super highway of communication between your gut and your brain called the gut-brain axis. Messages zip back and forth along this highway, influencing everything from your mood to your appetite and even your sleep. These gut neurons are basically speaking the same language as the one in your main brain. So they're using neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine and GABA to chat with each other and keep things in check. Those same neurotransmitters are also major players in your brain. So they're pulling double duty to regulate your mood, your emotions, your cognition. This brain-gut axis is essential. And when it's not in good working order, or communication breaks down on the superhighway between the central nervous system and the gastrointestinal tract, we run into a whole lot of problems. This disruption can lead to a range of physical and mental health issues. Here's a breakdown of what happens when this crucial connection is thrown off balance. Digestive problems. So disruptions in the brain-gut axis can manifest as gastrointestinal issues such as irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, constipation, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. The gut-brain connection influences the motility of the digestive tract, the secretion of digestive enzymes, and perception of pain. So when communication between the two is disrupted, it can lead to dysregulated gut function. Now, this may be a little TMI, but I suffered from this type of disruption for years, decades, in fact. I lived with daily diarrhea, and it had pretty much got to the point where I just assumed that was normal because, well, for me it was normal. It wasn't until I made some significant changes to my eating and my diarrhea went away almost overnight that I realized just how abnormal the last 20 years of my life had actually been. Mood disorders. The brain-gut axis plays a significant role in regulating your mood and emotions. When this communication system is disturbed, it can contribute to the development or exacerbation of mood disorders such as anxiety and depression. Your serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that's involved in mood regulation, is produced primarily in the gut. So disruptions in gut health can impact your serotonin levels. Obviously, that's going to impact your mood. Stress response. The brain-gut axis is closely involved in the body's stress response. Stress can influence gut function, leading to symptoms like abdominal discomfort, diarrhea, or constipation. Conversely, disturbances in gut function can signal stress to the brain, contributing to a cycle of stress and gastrointestinal symptoms. Immune dysfunction. The gut plays a crucial role in immune function, housing a significant portion of the body's immune cells. Disruptions in the brain-gut axis can impair immune function, increasing susceptibility to infections, autoimmune conditions, and inflammatory disorders. Sleep disturbances. The gut-brain connection also influences sleep patterns. Now, I'm not talking about the little grumbly rumbles at night because you are feeling like you're hungry and you're trying to go to sleep. Disrupted communication between the brain and the gut can contribute to sleep disturbances such as insomnia or fragmented sleep. Poor sleep quality can further disrupt gut function, so it's creating this cycle of sleep disturbances and gastrointestinal issues. It's a little like that age-old riddle, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Cognitive impairment. Changes in gut health can affect your cognitive function and your brain health. Disruptions in the brain-gut axis have been linked to cognitive impairments such as brain fog, difficulty concentrating, and memory problems. These cognitive symptoms may be exacerbated in individuals with conditions like IBS or IBD. This is kind of a sneaky one because most of us don't think about our stomach having anything to do with our thoughts or how our brain is processing all the information in and around us. But if you think about it, how you feel after a particularly large meal, like a Thanksgiving meal, you might feel tired or sluggish or so full that you can barely move. It's really a sign of how your stomach could also be impairing your cognition. You become so tired and sluggish that you kind of can't really think about anything, kind of can't really do anything. Food comas are not just from being a little gluttonous. There is a disturbance in the brain-gut axis. Sorry, I am a Star Wars nerd. Overall, disruptions in the brain-gut axis can have far-reaching effects on both physical and mental health. One of these biggest disruptions can happen within the gut's complex community of microorganisms, collectively known as the gut microbiome. These little guys play a huge role in keeping your gut healthy and happy, and they play a crucial role in digestive health, your metabolism, your immune function, and they even have their own influence on your brain. The gut microbiome consists of trillions of bacteria and viruses and fungi and other microbes that inhabit the digestive tract. Research has shown that the gut microbiome can influence your brain function and behavior through several mechanisms. Neurotransmitter production is one of them. So certain bacteria in the gut are capable of producing neurotransmitters, as we've talked about, serotonin. They also produce dopamine and GABA, which are chemical messengers involved in mood regulation, stress response, and cognitive function. Imbalances in these neurotransmitters have been linked to conditions such as depression, anxiety, and even autism spectrum disorders. The immune system modulation. So the gut microbiome plays a vital role in regulating your immune function and inflammation. Dysbiosis or imbalance in the gut microbiota has been associated with chronic inflammatory conditions, autoimmune diseases, and allergic disorders. Chronic inflammation can also impact brain health and contribute to neurological conditions such as Alzheimer's disease and multiple sclerosis. Vagal nerve signaling. So the vagus nerve, which is a major nerve that connects the gut and the brain, facilitates bidirectional communication between the two organs. Signals from the gut microbiome can travel through the vagus nerve to the brain, influencing the mood, your stress responses, your cognitive function, and in turn, the brain sends signals down the vagus nerve to the gut that affect digestive processes, gut motility, and secretion of digestive enzymes. And short-chain fatty acid production. So gut bacteria ferment dietary fibers and other carbohydrates to produce short-chain fatty acids, SCFAS. And these short-chain fatty acids have been shown to have anti-inflammatory effects. They support intestinal barrier function and promote brain health. Dysregulation of SCFA production has been implicated in gastrointestinal disorders, metabolic syndrome, and neurological conditions. Maintaining a diverse and balanced gut microbiota through a healthy diet, regular exercise, adequate sleep, and stress management is essential for supporting overall health and optimizing the gut-brain axis. By addressing underlying gut health issues, you may help restore balance and alleviate symptoms associated with dysfunction in this crucial communication system. So we've looked at the gut biome, the stomach's very own nervous system, the ENS, and the gut-brain axis, aka our super-duper communication highway between the brain in our noggin and the brain in our stomach. Now, let's look at something a little more instinctual. Ever had a gut feeling about something? That's your second brain at work. Generally, it relates to that niggly little feeling that kind of sits deep down in your belly and gives you moths or butterflies. So butterflies are that warm, exciting, maybe nervous, flittering feeling when something good is happening. Moths are similar to butterflies, but instead of all the warm feels, you get more tumbling sensations. Something's not sitting quite right. We all have the capability to experience either, but sadly, many of us have turned off this connection so that we may only notice the butterflies and ignore or shoo away the moths. Gut feelings refer to the intuitive sense or instinctive reactions that individuals experience in response to certain situations or decisions. This phenomenon is often described as a visceral sensation or a knowing that emerges from the gut, rather than from a rational thought process. While gut feelings may not always be based on conscious reasoning or logical analysis, they can provide valuable insights and guidance in decision making. The existence of gut feeling is rooted in the complex interplay between the brain, the gut, and the body's nervous system. Using the gut's vast network of neurons, the ENS, which communicates with the central nervous system, CNS, via the vagus nerve and other pathways, the gut feeling is able to be relayed back to the brain and vice versa. One theory behind the gut feelings is that the gut may serve as a kind of emotional radar or a sensitive detector of subtle cues in the environment. This intuitive sensing may be rooted in evolutionary biology, where rapid decision-making and instinctive responses were critical for survival in threatening or uncertain situations. Yep, we're talking about the fight, flight, or freeze response. Learning to listen to your gut feelings involves cultivating self-awareness, mindfulness, and trusting in your intuition. Here are 7 tips to help you tune into your gut instincts. Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your body's physical sensations and emotional responses in different situations. Notice any subtle changes or shifts in your gut area, such as the butterflies in the stomach, or feeling uncomfortable or uneasy, those moths we talked about earlier. Trust your instincts. Honor your gut feelings as valid and valuable sources of information. Trust your intuition, even if it contradicts rational analysis or external opinions. Your gut feelings often reflect your subconscious awareness of underlying patterns or dynamics. Reflect on past experiences. Look back on previous instances where you followed your gut instincts and consider the outcomes. Reflect on times when your intuition served you well and when you maybe ignored it, and that helps you to gain insight into your intuitive signals. And create space for quiet reflection. So set aside time for quiet reflection or meditation or journaling to tune into your inner guidance. Create a calm and peaceful environment where you can connect with your intuition without distraction. Practice decision making. Start with small decisions and practice listening to your gut instincts. Notice how your body responds when considering different options and trust the signals that resonate most strongly with you. And you can make this as simple or as complex as you like. You could start off simply by, if you go out for dinner or lunch or just even to have a coffee with a friend, looking at the menu, reading it out loud, pay attention to what catches your mind or your gut's attention and go with that. Now, I know this seems like a really weird thing to ask you to do, right? Why would you read out a menu out loud? But it's really about cultivating this idea of learning how to listen to your body, learning how to turn back on or activate that intuition which is innately within each of us. Seek confirmation. If you're unsure about a decision, seek confirmation from your gut feelings by imagining different scenarios or options and noticing how your body responds. Pay attention to any feelings of alignment or resistance. Seeking confirmation is another area that's going to take some practice because most of us unfortunately have switched off our intuitive design, basically. So what happens is that we're blindly going through life, navigating things, and not really listening or understanding what our body is trying to tell us. I've said this before in other episodes. I now understand that when I'm in pain, that's my body's language. It's the way that my body is speaking to me or trying to get my attention about something. And some days I'm really onto it and really good at going, okay, body, hold on a second. What are you trying to tell me here? What's happening? What can I do to make you feel safe or to make you feel better about whatever is going on in life? And sometimes, just talking it out with my body, which I know sounds a bit bizarre, but it does work. Having that conversation with my body has allowed me to really be much more in tune with it. So now I pick up on cues that I missed once upon a time because I was kind of stuck in autopilot. So seeking confirmation from your gut takes practice, takes being brave enough to stop listening to everybody else's judgments and expectations and ideas and thoughts and suggestions, and really forgetting about the external and going inward, internally looking and listening for the cues. Because if you do that, you can't go wrong. Your gut is designed to protect you. It will not lead you astray. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you healthy. It wants to keep you connected to yourself. It is not going to steer you wrong like your mind might or like your feelings could. Listening to the gut, seeking confirmation, understanding that if you wait for that confirmation from your gut by thinking about the different scenarios that could arise and then thinking how that feels, then you'll actually learn to establish that very strong and very authentic connection within yourself. And listen to physical cues. Pay attention to physical cues such as tension, relaxation, discomfort, or excitement, especially in your gut area. These sensations can provide valuable clues about your true feelings and preferences. Now, I've kind of already mentioned this, but listening to the physical cues, you know these ones. Again, it's that feeling in the pit of your stomach. It's the muscle tension. When I have pain, I know that there is stress going on, especially if the pain is in my neck area and it runs down my shoulders. And so that is a physical cue for me that my body is trying to tell me something. So again, it's developing, and practice makes understanding. By doing this and by faithfully investing your time and your energy to pay attention to what your body is telling you, the signals that you're getting and you're receiving from it, you're going to discover that as you develop this, you're going to get much quicker at recognizing when it's happening, and you'll be able to put a stop to the stress cycle that you might be in that moment. You can harness the wisdom of your innate intuition to navigate life's decisions with greater clarity and confidence and authenticity. In a nutshell, or should I say in a gut shell, your stomach is way more than just a food processor. It's a key player in your overall health and well-being. And your second brain is just as smart as your first one. From digestion to immunity to sending you warning shots or the warm feels, it's pulling off some serious brain power behind the scenes. And with growing research linking gut health to mental well-being, it's clear that this second brain plays a bigger role in our overall health than we could ever have imagined. And since your gut is surprisingly good at picking up on subtle cues and sending signals to your brain, it can affect how you feel and how you behave. Thanks for listening to this episode. Hopefully, I've given you some food for thought, especially the next time that you have a stomach ache or trouble sleeping, or you feel like eating your feelings, or if you're feeling a bit out of sorts. Maybe it's time to give your gut a little TLC. After all, when it comes to keeping both your brains happy, it's all about that gut instinct. Our quote to round out the episode comes from Nellie Bly, a badass female journalist who took on Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days premise for real, circumnavigating the globe in just 72 days. She did this in the 1800s, by the way. And this quote sums up perfectly the brain-gut axis relationship. And you could easily switch out brain and apply it to our whole being. To have a good brain, the stomach must be cared for.